I am in my car. I am stuck. I got home from a quick meeting and there are wasps swarming all over my front door, interestingly. So I can't get into my computer and my notes and everything to do our call. And something just jumped on my roof. So I'm a little bit distracted by that. And hi Tatiana. And I decided I'm going to jump in anyways, and I'm going to share what I can share with you. And then if I have to come back and we need to add some more value to this, I definitely will. So I apologize. Again, the wasps. The interesting thing is, I don't know if anyone else loves to do this, but whenever animals cross my path, hi Elaine, good to see you. Whenever animals cross my path, I'm always super interested in what the meaning of that is. So I always look up, whatever animal I saw, an animal totem. And I'm just watching all the wasps swarming. And so I just looked up the meaning for wasp, and it was so interesting. And it says that the wasp is reminding you or if you see a wasp in your life, it's reminding you that going out and making your dreams won't happen as quickly, or thinking about your dreams won't make them happen as quickly as going out and doing them. So that was a big thing for me right now. I was like, oh, cool. Okay. So I'm having lots of dreams that need to be acted on, I guess. So anyways, hi, welcome. We are on day 4. I cannot believe it. This has been so much fun, you guys. Thank you so much. And today in our connection, I wanted to talk to you about actually taking action and creating more connection in your daily life. So let's pause for a moment and just sit with remembering all the things that we've talked about this week. So we started out looking at the layers of trust, right? And for you to see that there are 3 different areas in our life that is important to have trust, and we've been focusing on self and others. Higher power is definitely important as well. We didn't talk about that one so much, but you saw from the chart that it feels different when we aren't practicing trust in our lives, right? We feel anxiety, we feel the need for control, we feel the need for perfectionism, or we have our walls looking differently. Our boundaries look differently, rather. So there's all different kinds of ways that trust comes into play. And you guys have awareness of that now. And as we are bringing connection out into the world, something to consider is that you have awareness of these kinds of trust and about the stories that have made or have played a role in your life and that have caused you to show up the way that you have. That have caused you to, I'll use myself as an example, that have caused myself to caused me to play smaller, right? We talked about being safe and being the programs that you've subscribed to fit in versus belong. And so not everybody has this awareness yet. So sometimes when we're going to go out and try to connect with people aren't aware of their expectations, or that expectations can be a challenge for them. People aren't aware of the stories that they have in their own mind, or the boundaries that they're having around themselves. And so we get to be kind of leaders and make and help influence other people to come out into their own truth by leading with ours. So to talk a little bit more about what that looks like in a day-to-day. So I wanted to share with you how to interact with people, how to make deeper connections. And I've shared this before. And when I initially shared this, somebody reached out and she said, well, how do I make this happen for groups? How can I connect more in groups if I'm having that fear? So we'll talk about that too. So whenever I'm creating connection with people, for me, and you guys know this, it's about what is genuine. And there are things that really make a difference. You can think about when somebody, for example, if you meet somebody and they give you sort of like a flimsy pat on the back hug where you feel like, like they don't really want to touch you, then you can feel like you're not really having that deep sense of connection with them. You feel like they're uncomfortable knowing you, and so it doesn't feel comfortable for you to step out and be seen more, or act or show up the way that you want to show up authentically with them. Does that make sense? Right? Think about hugs. Hugs are really important. It's a good contact that says, it's that first initiation that says, hey, you're like, I'm safe with you, you are safe with me, and I genuinely care. I'm interested in you. I like to hug people when I meet them because for me the handshake is like, I'm showing my left hand. I know that I'm holding the phone in my other end. But for me, the handshake is like there's still something in between us. Like that looks like, for me, it's like I don't trust you, so I'm going to hold you out here. I know that's kind of strange, and I know that it's formal, you know, and sometimes it's more appropriate to shake people's hands than others. But oftentimes, if I'm meeting somebody for the first time, I'll smile and I'll kind of stick my hand out, but then I'll reach around and give them a hug. Like, I wish I could just do it. Like, hey, you know, nice to meet you. So I'll pull them in and I'll put like one arm around them. That makes sense. And I'll make eye contact and say their name when you meet them. Right? Whenever we say somebody's name, people like to hear their name. They like to be called whatever their name is, instead of just, hey, you, right? It feels good to hear your own name. Hey, Lane, nice to meet you. Hey, Tatiana, so nice to meet you. When somebody reaches out and says, like, you know, just hearing your name coming from somebody else's mouth, it gives you that, like, that energy of, it just feels good, right? So, and it also helps us to remember people's names. For me, anyways, I don't know if you're somebody who says, oh, I have the hardest time remembering people's names. And what I feel about that story, it's a story that we tell ourselves. Hi, Mary! Welcome! See, we're using names. Whenever we feel like, or whenever we use that story with ourselves that, oh, I have the hardest time remembering people's names, or when people tell me like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm just bad with names, that kind of is just an out. I think that's a reason, that's an excuse that I can tell my brain, don't worry, you don't have to remember this person's name, because you're just bad at it. Right? And so I make it a point to be better at remembering people's names because it feels good to be remembered, right? And that's how we can connect with people. We sort of give people a sense of, you're not important enough to remember. It's not important enough for me to remember your name, and oh, my brain just forgot, right? So it's more genuine and more meaningful for us to take a moment to be with that person and do what works for you to remember them. That's why I like to say it. Hi, you know, Alyssa, so nice to meet you. And take a moment with her and do something that helps you connect on like a deeper level. I love to compliment people. I love to call things out, or to find like what's the word that I'm looking for? Find some sort of like common ground that helps us connect. So if it's something like, oh my gosh, your shoes are beautiful. I love those. I love that you wore those today. Whatever. Like finding something to talk about. Your lipstick is gorgeous. What kind is that? Does that last all day? Because I love that kind that stays all day. Or, if it's something that we can say in general, like, hey, so nice to meet you, Alyssa. What, how do you know so-and-so? Or what brings you here today? And then just finding something to relate to, so it's not just the sort of common, oh, hi, like the standoffish nice to meet you. Even if we're being polite, it feels good to just like take that extra step and really try to get to know that person. So connecting one-on-one, eye contact is huge. Eye contact, saying a name, remembering, being the person that's comfortable giving a hug. For me also what that does is that disarms people, right? Because we're so used to holding people out here. But when we are like, hey, so nice to meet you, and give them a hug, and a lot of times people are like, oh, thank God, I'm a hugger too, or I love hugs, or whatever. There, once in a while you're going to get people who are just like, oh, okay. But I don't take that personally. I think that, some people they just aren't ready for that, or they aren't the kind of person who wants to have that level of connection, and that's okay, right? It's not for everybody. I don't do that to like my barista, but there's a counter in the way. I was just thinking, I just went to Starbucks. Okay, and then when we're connecting in groups, I've really thought about this a lot because this has been a challenge for me in my life too. So I grew up in a family of, there are 5 kids, and I used to call myself the shadow child. It's kind of an emo name that I gave myself, but that's how I felt. I felt like whenever I was around my family that I just felt like everyone had an identity and I sort of just like was one of the crowd. And that's also how I felt in my extended family, because my mom has 6 siblings, my dad has a couple siblings. I don't know how many cousins. I think like 19 cousins or something. And now I also have I don't have grandkids. I have nephews, which friend combined the nieces and nephews word for me, so that helps me just say them all at once. So my family is gigantic, and so I know the group setting very well, and even though it's family, I can feel in my nervous system like, if there's a couple of us, awesome, we can connect, we're in a smaller intimate setting, we can talk with each other, whatever. And then when more people come, my nervous system would start to get like, like kind of close up more and more, and take on that feeling, that fear of being small, and then just start to play that role of, well, I am small, and so I will stay small. And almost feeling, I think that the real driving factor behind this was one of our human needs, which is significance. Wanting love and connection, but significance means, do I matter here? Like, knowing that I matter to somebody. And it felt like when I was growing up, I know that that's a fear-based thought right now, is that I don't matter. And the truth is that whenever we assume that when we play small, it's going to keep us small, like I said. And so we're not able to bridge that to love and connection, right? Because that puts our walls up. So this is sort of a long way, but I wanted to share with you just the experience overall that I had with groups and growing up with a big tribe, and feeling that way with my friends too. I remember being in a group of friends, and even if it's people that I love so very much, even if it's like my best friends and I'm at a dinner and I'm, I show up to dinner and there's just a couple of us there, and I can get comfortable with that, and I get excited and we can talk one-on-one, and then so-and-so is coming later, and I still feel that resistance. Like, I could still feel that resistance of, wow, I love that person where we're at, and so it's almost like you don't want to share that, because there's this fear of becoming insignificant, or this fear that it won't be intimate anymore. It's an old program for me. And so what's really helped me to break through that is to, first of all, recognize whenever that feeling comes up, recognize that I haven't met yet, it's a friend of a friend, or I should just shrink down. That's fear-based, and it won't lead to love and connection. And so what I will do is, whoever is joining us, my boyfriend is coming home to rescue me from the wasps. Okay, so I might have to take care of that in a moment. But whenever I'm in that fear of the group setting, what I'll do is I will find a way to connect with a new person. And so whoever's joining, I'll do the same sort of tools with them. So I will, if I don't know them, I will go up to them and I will make them feel welcome, and I'll introduce myself, and that again helps them take the walls down. And I'll say, hey, nice to meet you. My name is Julie. Find a way to connect with them, give them some kind of love or connection. Sorry, that combines the word. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, my noise is going out. I am stuck outside my house because of the wasps in my house, or in my front door. So if it's not recording fully on your end, hopefully I can save it, and then I'll upload it. And I'm so sorry. And then I hope that works out for you. So thank you for being with me, and sorry for the shoddy video. I hope that you're still getting something out of this. So I was saying that whenever it's somebody new, meeting them and finding some common ground and giving them some sort of love or giving them a compliment, helping them to take their walls down too, right? Because we mentioned earlier on that these people, not these people, but a lot of people are walking around without the awareness of the walls that they have and the expectations they have, and all the identity, thank you, Tatiana, all the stories that they're playing that's keeping them small, right? So a lot of people aren't having this awareness. So you leading forward with that love, with a way to connect, helps them to take their own walls down and take the expectations down that you don't have interest in getting to know them, or that you're just, you're kind of treating them like everybody else treats them. Which a lot of times we treat people kind of just like objects, like, oh, you're not a part of my day. You just here to get me my coffee, for example. I'm going back to my barista. So that's a tactic for groups. And then if I'm in a group where I don't know people, which happens too, if I know, like, I came here with a friend and I don't know the rest of them. I've sat around tables before, and I'm sure you all have, where you sit in that group and there's you're just not feeling comfortable with everybody because there's that awkward, like, hey, we're all in the same space but we don't know each other. And so I like to be the person there too that that will walk, or like stand up and walk over and stick my hand out or give them a hug or something and say, hey, I haven't met you, I came with Tara, it's nice to meet you, what's your name? And find some way to connect with them. So taking walls down is big. And I also mentioned connecting with people online, and this has been a fun challenge for me because the social media in the past felt like the most inauthentic place to be. We're constantly being sold things. We have the opportunity to compare ourselves all the time, to see people's highlight reels. And so I felt like, I guess that was part of my feeling small in that space too. And how can I show up when I truly want to be authentic? And I have found that you can authentically connect with people online too. I've made some new friends. I like to tell Travis, I'll be out in a moment. Oh, he's like, I'm dealing with wasps. Oh, 1 second. And so, I like to find new friends online that I can genuinely connect with. And I made a new friend, and we went out for lunch and found out that we love each other. So that was really cool. So yeah, just finding people who have interesting content, finding people who really look like, you would blend well with them. And I just reach out and I'm like, hey, I love the things that you're sharing. You are, this is so interesting to me, or this really resonates with me. I think we're on such, the same page. I notice we're in the same city, like we're both in Houston. I would love to grab coffee with you sometime for like 30 minutes and just talk a little bit more, learn more about what you do. Would you be interested? And sometimes people don't respond, and that's okay. And then sometimes you'll get positive responses where people are like, oh my gosh, yes, exactly, I would love that, I would love. So that has been a helpful tool too. And I am so sorry, I have to run, and I will come back and share some more things with you girls, but I need help, or Travis needs help with this wasp situation. So I love you guys. Thank you for popping in, and I'm sorry this was kind of a weird timing thing, but it's a definitely interesting one. I